We're talking about this shows the different pathways in the nitrogen cycle mediated mostly by bacteria, by the different types of microbes, and these are the oxidation states of the nitrogen. So some of these pathways are well known to you, where you have your where ammonium is oxidized to uh, nitrite via nitrosomonas and nitrite to nitrate via nitrobacter. So this step is called the nitrification. This is an intermediate that has not yet been found. So this is an oxidative process, oxidative step, and occurs when oxygen levels are adequate. To obtain this ammonium here, most of the ammonium is from the degradation, catabolism of organic matter. So decay of organic matter will supply ammonium. So this step can also be called ammonification. Okay, so the reversal of this step is assimilation back into the organism. So, however, when nitrate is stable in oxidative form. However, when the oxygen levels are low, denitrification processes can occur, usually by Bacillus pseudomonas in soil. So nitrate will be reduced to nitrite and then to nitrogen. Okay, so some of the intermediates are still unknown. So an important source of ammonium utilizable nitrogen in the environment is via nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation is where the uh, nitrogen gas is taken up by nitrogen fixers such as Azotobacter, cyanobacteria, and Clostridium, and ammonium is generated. So Azotobacter is an example of a free-living heterotrophic bacteria that can fix nitrogen. Cyanobacteria is an example of a free-living phototrophic bacteria that can fix nitrogen. And this is an example of a anaerobic bacteria, heterotrophic bacteria that also fixes nitrogen. So usually the main steps are oxidation when oxygen is available, and nitrification when oxygen is available, and denitrification when oxygen is not available. So assimilation can be via the ammonium, from ammonium assimilated into the biomass, or through nitrate assimilated into the biomass. Okay, so in the past, oxidation of ammonium has always been thought to occur in aerobic state. However, maybe about 20 years ago, researchers found Brocadia anamoxidans carrying out the anamox reaction. Okay, anamox reaction stands for anaerobic ammonium oxidation. So this is something new at that time, because at that we have always thought that ammonium oxidation occurs aerobically. Okay, so this is something new where ammonium can be oxidized even in anaerobic conditions. So they found this in wastewater treatment plants, okay, where the ammonium together with nitrite can be oxidized. The N can be oxidized into nitrogen gas via the anamox reaction. Okay, so This shows the global nitrogen cycle. And the transfer between the atmospheric, land, and ocean nitrogens. Okay. What is interesting here is if you look at this industrial fixation, so industrial fixation to generate fertilizers are actually the biggest. One of the one of the uh, one of the major pathways for N fixation, nitrogen uh, fixation, in industrial nitrogen fixation. Okay, for as fertilizers for plants. Okay, as compared to lightning and biological oxidation. So it is a significant component. So in the past, there was no industrial fixation. So this is all quite balanced. However, with industrial fixation to generate fertilizers for plants, there is a definite increase in the uh, ammonium nitrogen pollution in our aquatic habitats. Okay, so that brings about problems with eutrophication, hypoxia, and other problems related to uh, nitrogen pollution in waters. Okay. Next, we look at the sulfur cycle. Here, uh, look at how the artificial emission of sulfate is substantial as relative to natural emissions. So these are mostly from industries and also from cars. Basically, fuel burning will release sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. So this is a problem because with the increased amount of sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere, and uh, one of the result we have now is our acid rain. Okay, so this one SO2 when you add mix with water in the rain, you'll have a hydrogen sulfate. Uh, so that's acid sulfuric. Okay, so that's acid rain that is that will fall to the earth and create problems. Okay, so when you sulfur reactions, the redox cycle for sulfur is also have related to whether oxygen is present or not. So when oxygen is present, the hydrogen sulfide is not stable and will be uh, oxidized to sulfate. Okay, whereas then sulfate in anaerobic conditions is not stable and will be uh, reduced to hydrogen sulfide. But sulfate to hydrogen sulfide reduction have can be assimilative or dissimilative. Main difference is if it's assimilative, then the sulfur group is taken up by the organism into the biomass, whereas dissimilative, no such uh, incorporation occurs. So these are the examples of microbes that can carry out that are important in the sulfur cycle. So finally, the topic for today is the microbiologically induced corrosion. So for corrosion to occur, biofilm formation has to uh, is the first step. Okay, so biofilm formation begins with the attachment of microbes to a solid surface. Once it's attached, then biofilm exopolysaccharides are produced and allow the bacteria to remain attached. Okay, so the biofilm will increase in size, and there will be stages where the uh, microbes will be released from the biofilms to initiate new biofilm formation. The importance of biofilm is it protects the microbes from antimicrobial components and antimicrobial compounds. Okay, it also allows the bacteria to attach. Uh, so as a habitat that allows the bacteria to stay on the habitat and also protects it from predators and also from biocides. So the microbiologically induced corrosion is important, especially in the oil industry, petrochemical industry. Okay, so biofilm formation in the uh, pipes can cause corrosion and actually cause uh, leakage. Okay, so it's a major problem in the oil industry. So we know this is due to microbes because here the y-axis shows the sulfide concentration, and so when the biocide is added, immediately the sulfide concentration drops. So this sulfide production is micro microbiologically mediated. Okay, so but when the biocide treatment is stopped, okay, biocide concentration begins to drop and sulfide concentration increased again. So that shows the sulfide problem is due to microbes. Okay, so when you have sulfate reducing prokaryotes that generates hydrogen sulfide from sulfate, okay, this hydrogen sulfide will dissociate into sulfur ions and hydrogen, and this will cause the oxidation of metal, ferrum, cause the oxidation of metal into Fe2 plus, FeS. Okay, so the electron that is released here will produce hydrogen, which will together with CO2 will be used by methanogens to produce methane. So these are the net reactions, sulfate reduction and methane production that occurs in microbiologically induced corrosion on metal surfaces. So for this to occur, you need to have biofilm, then you need to have the different sulfate reducing prokaryotes and to initiate the microbiologically induced corrosion. Okay, so